Hello, dear one. I would like to read to you a poem or a prayer. It's a prayer that was written by Mother Teresa, and it's meant a lot to me in my life through the years. I wanted to share it with you today. And she writes, "People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you have anyway." You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. I don't think Mother Teresa would say this, but it's perfect yoga philosophy. We have to think in terms of our own karma creating the circumstances of our lives. When someone cheats you or destroys what you've built, that's taken a lifetime to build and they destroy it overnight, that's karma. And the person who destroys what we have built is an instrument of our karma. So this is a very liberating thought because it changes everything. It changes us outwardly blaming people and circumstances in the world, and it brings the responsibility for everything back to our own hearts. In the case of someone destroying what we have built over a lifetime, well, maybe we did the same thing to someone else. Not even in this lifetime, but in a past life. It's very complex. All the thoughts that we've had, all the actions we have performed, many of them hardly consciously. I remember a time when circumstances arose in my life and I suffered terribly on a mental level, on a physical level too. It was just very, very painful. And I searched my mind, I searched my soul. What did I do? What did I do? And I finally came up with what I think may well have caused all that suffering, which was something I had said to someone in authority, which may have caused something to happen to this other person. And I was fairly oblivious to what that person would feel about it and what they would go through. And so I had to go through the same thing myself. Now, whether that was just my own fantasy or whether that was the reality, it's an open question. But it was a similar enough situation that it made me realize just how important our thoughts are, our words are, and our actions are. We create our lives. And so there's one easy way out of all of this: to love, to give, to not be judgmental, to live in attunement with God. Those are many ways of saying the same thing. But if we have compassion for others instead of judgment, if we are trying to encourage and uplift everyone and not just think, what's in it for me, in every circumstance, always referring everything back to ourselves. If we try to live always in God's joy and give that to other people, little by little, all the negative karma will disappear. And especially if we're doing Kriya Yoga and practicing Kriya Yoga, we will burn up that karma that causes us so much pain. That's the way to live. And as Mother Teresa is saying here, in the final analysis, it is between you and God. All these circumstances, all these outer travails that we go through, in a sense, we have created them. And it's really only the soul and God that's interacting. So let's bring Him into everything, every circumstance. There's a story, I'll just close with this, a story that Swami Kriyananda used to tell about a sadhu, a wandering monk in India. And for a while these monks were allowed to ride the trains in India for free. But then came a point where they said, no, you have to have a ticket. Well, this one monk did have a ticket, but the conductor threw him off anyway, threw him in jail, and the next morning this monk appeared before the magistrate. And the magistrate asked the monk, okay, what had happened? What happened? And the monk said, by the grace of God, I was riding the train. Then by the grace of God, I was thrown off the train and thrown into jail. And now by God's grace, I appear before your magistrate. And the magistrate said, oh, just get out of here. He knew he was just in God. And he forgave him and let him go. But that's the way to live. Even in painful, negative circumstances, being physically thrown off a train and then thrown into jail, if we're in God, it's all His grace. And as the Bible says, all things work together for good to those who love God.